I'm on board the MSC Seascape for our very first MSC cruise. Now, before I booked this cruise, I did hear some mixed reviews, and I admit I had some trepidations. I have to say, now that I am on board, well, there are definitely some things I didn't expect. Hi there, I'm Ilana from the website lifewellcruise.com. Welcome back to my channel. Now, usually when I'm on board a cruise, I like to do a little video about my first impressions a couple days in. I hope you don't mind the sound of the water. Personally, I find that ocean sound just so relaxing. But what I'm going to do in this video is share with you our first impressions, my honest thoughts, how my cruise has been so far, and answer many of the questions that I've had from viewers and subscribers. Now, that includes questions and concerns about the cruise ship, the cruise line, as well as some personal questions that I'll throw in as well. Now, before I get started, I did want to mention that if you like this video, if you find it helpful, informative, or enjoyable in any way, then please do give this video a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Let's get started. Okay, so let's first start off with the ship. Now, when we boarded the MSC Seascape, I have to tell you, I thought the ship was so beautiful. Now, I had expected it to be beautiful because I've seen that crystal staircase. I've seen a lot of photos from inside the ship, but it actually surprised me a little bit. The public areas that are on the interior of the cruise ship are really very nice, from the specialty restaurants to the lounges. We still have not seen the entire cruise ship, so more is to come. This is not a full review, but truthfully, the ship itself is very beautiful. Now, in terms of the cabin, we're in a standard balcony cabin. It really is very nice. It's a good size. Now, we are 3 people in the cabin. Ethan is here with us working on this cruise ship. By the way, we are not on a sponsored cruise, so this is a cruise that we are doing on our own, that we've paid for on our own, that I booked several months ago. However, he does come with us, and we all do work creating content about cruises. Okay, so moving on to the most asked question: how is the food? Now, honestly, the food on board has been surprisingly good. Now, I only say that because I hear so many mixed reviews about the food, but for our liking, the food has been very good. Now, in particular in the buffet, I have really loved the different cheeses. On embarkation day, I had the burrata with some tomatoes and a little bit of olive oil and balsamic and focaccia, and I really loved that. Now, we did, of course, try the pizza, which we had heard is very good, and yes, it did not disappoint. Now, of course, this is not a full review, and at the end of the cruise, I will really go through everything and be able to share some of the good and the bad, but really so far so good. Our main dining room meal last night was very good. It was prime rib, and I did have the famous grandma's chocolate cake, and it was really good. Now, we had breakfast in the buffet this morning. I had a really nice fresh omelet, a little pastry, and some fresh fruit, and that was delicious as well. I've actually found something in particular regarding the buffet. There's an area towards the back, the wake area, and usually that buffet is quite quiet. It seems like all of the crowds are in the front area of the buffet, so if you do find it crowded, head back that way. What about the staff and the service? Now, some people asked, do the staff speak English? Are you having a hard time communicating? Are the staff as friendly as on other cruise lines? So this was something that actually surprised me. The staff, the crew, are very friendly, very helpful, and I don't know why it would surprise me, but I guess because I had heard mixed reviews. But every crew member that we've come into contact with so far has been nice, has been helpful. And something that I did want to point out, just because sometimes I've seen that this could potentially be an issue on some other cruise lines, is that the staffing actually seems really up to par. In particular, in areas where there's a bar, we've had servers come to us, ask if we want a drink, if we want coffee, and as well, even in terms of the bartenders, it does seem like they do have enough staff. Now, speaking of drinks, when I booked my cruise, I did book it with a promotion for a drink package. I think that it may have been the Fantastica. I'm not even 100% sure, but what I do know is I have a package that includes drinks up to $10, and I think it includes basic Wi-Fi as well. Now, I wasn't sure, do I need to upgrade my beverage package? I'm happy to say no. There are many drinks that are $10 or less on the menus. I haven't had an issue getting my embarkation day mimosas, my Aperol spritzes, Frank's strawberry daiquiris, or any of the beer. And I will tell you something, I don't usually say this, but the mimosas on the MSC Seascape in the Atrium Bar are the very best mimosas that I have ever had on any cruise ship. Okay, so now for some of the things that some people warned me about that I guess could be considered negatives, if you will. What did I think? So the elevators. The elevators, genuinely, there is a system where you have to press the deck that you are going to before you get on the elevator. Now, it could be very efficient, but for some reason on this ship, the elevators do seem to be taking long. Now, again, yesterday was embarkation day. Today is the second day. It could be that is why the elevators are taking a very long time, but it does seem like there is a little bit of a longer wait than with the standard elevator system. The ship layout. Now, I actually really like this ship, and I am starting to get used to the lay of the land, so to speak, but there are some difficulties navigating certain parts of the ship, and I do think that you get this on many of the larger ships, so I think that this might just be par for the course. Multiple languages spoken. What do I think? So one of the things that I had heard about MSC before I came on this cruise is that announcements are made in multiple languages. Now, that is definitely true, and on embarkation day, as there are typically announcements that are made, they definitely were in several languages, but I actually think that that is a good thing. Now, those announcements on embarkation day, do they get a little bit annoying? I guess they do, but honestly, after those first couple of hours, I have not heard anything that I have found annoying. Now, when it comes to other passengers, I've heard a lot of English, of course, but I've also heard a lot of other languages. I've heard Spanish, I've heard Italian, I've heard French, and I've heard other languages that I can't recognize. So it is a very international clientele, but I wouldn't say either that is a bad thing. Oh, and I should mention that I am on a Caribbean cruise, so we did leave from Miami, and our ports are Nassau, Bahamas, San Juan, Puerto Rico, Puerto Plata, Dominican Republic, and Ocean Cay. Now, I know some people have asked, how has filming been on this MSC cruise? So first I'm going to answer some personal questions, and then I will get to that question at the end for those that are interested. All right, personal question number one. So many people seem to have asked about this, but where is my embarkation day dress from? It is actually from Amazon. Now, how do I find good Amazon dresses? You would not believe how many dresses come to my house that I try on, and I return some of them, of course. So I give them a try, and some work, some don't. So the ones that are really, I think, the best ones, I do wear and share them with you. So I am going to leave a blog post linked down below of this video, and it has basically about 30 or so of my favorite Amazon dresses, rompers, a few accessories, that sort of thing. Now, I actually did get a few new things, including this white cover up, so I'll also share that linked down below of this video. And I got something else. This is sort of a knit or crocheted straw-like tote bag, really cute. I brought it to Nassau today, so I did get that on Amazon, and I will leave it linked down below in the description of this video as well. How many cruises do we go on, and do we ever stay home? So of course we do stay home, but we did have a couple of cruises this month. This one was planned in advance. Sun Princess was a little bit less expected, but I do think when opportunities come up, it is good to take them. I'm trying to do that this year, to have a year of yes, that when opportunities come up, I'm trying to take advantage of them. However, in terms of cruises, this is our 4th cruise this year in 2024. My goal is not to try to take as many cruises as possible, but it is to try to do some different cruise lines, different experiences, to be able to share them with you. Please let me know, by the way, what are the cruises that you'd like to see me take, either in terms of destination and itinerary or ship, as well as different types of cruises and cruise lines. Please let me know down in the comments below. How do I not gain weight? Now, I laughed a little bit because I thought, well, that's, I think maybe a little bit of a compliment then, but actually I do gain weight just like everybody else. And honestly, I'm trying to take off a few pounds now. But one of the ways I don't gain that much weight is because we are cruising more often. I have to admit, I don't eat as much maybe as I did on the cruise. when I cruised less. So now I might have a bite or two of dessert. I won't have the entire dessert. I don't feel like I have to eat as much like it's my last meal, like sometimes I did before, and I think that might just be normal because we are cruising more often. Now, I will say something that I think really is true, that if you go on a cruise and typically at home you eat relatively healthy, and for a week or 10 days you eat more, it is normal that you're probably going to gain 5 pounds or maybe even a little bit more. But I've always noticed that once I get back home, by a month later, everything just works itself out. So I wouldn't overstress. If you do eat a little bit more, if you indulge for that 1 week of your vacation, don't overstress. You can take it off later. So how has filming been on our MSC cruise? Now, I did share in another video before we came on this cruise that I had been in touch with MSC Cruises, and I do like to be transparent, and honestly I've had no issues at all. Now, they did tell me what are some of the areas that we're not able to film, so especially that had to do with security, and I understand that, and I always try to be respectful when I am on a cruise, and again, we just haven't had an issue. Now, something else, I probably don't mention it very much, but when it does come to crew on board, typically before we take any videos where crew might be in our videos, we will ask the crew members if they are okay with being filmed. And sometimes on other cruise lines, some crew members say they would rather not, and others actually seem to like it. And honestly, we've had such good experiences with crew that we are happy to share crew as part of our videos. But in this case, I am trying to be a little bit careful of that. I do want to make sure that I am respectful of all of the crew and their boundaries, and maybe they aren't comfortable saying no to me, so I'm trying not to film crew on this cruise. Now, I hope that this little first impressions video has been helpful so far. Of course, there is much more to come. By the end of this cruise, I will be able to give you a full honest review. Please let me know any of the other questions that you have so I can try to research that while I am on board this cruise. And as I mentioned, I'll leave some links for the different items, dresses, etc. that I wear linked down below in the description of this video. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please do give it a big thumbs up. I really do appreciate it, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Bye for now, and happy cruising.